Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, from to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Christopher when he was born, rainfall from the sky. Them call him Christopher when he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Christopher lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Christopher read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England.
But yeah. I want to take it forward now to the establishment of the Organization of African Unity.
Yes, I am.
This is 100th episode. This is African Liberation Day. This is the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the O.A.U. And we see that this organization was built out of conflict with the Casablanca, the Monrovia group. Some would call it, some include the Brazzaville group as a separate grouping as well. But the thought at the time was that the unification of Africa was impossible because of the ideological differences. And a lot of people don't know that man like Kwame Nkrumah, Secretary, they were funding a lot of revolutionary activity in other people's countries. So a lot of the Francophone countries never want to deal with certain none at all. So it looked very bleak. We can look forward on it now and we see say, yeah, it happened. But I think people don't realize how instrumental His Majesty, through his foreign minister, Ketema Yefaru, and some of the other, the diplomatic channels, how critical it was. And I think, and I want to start there because we're going to relate to the role that we have as the children of Rastafari in this future unity. So talk about the overstanding of the formulation of the Organization of African Unity.
What you know? You see, remember them had a meeting in 1958, you know?
Yes, I.
With Kwame Nkrumah, where about 8 African leaders met. See? And the fullness manifests in May 1963, which, Haile Selassie was made the first president of the O.A.U.
Yes, sir.
And see, it's important that ones read the speeches of Haile Selassie because the amount of information Haile Selassie presents in those speeches, it's historical, plus it's contemporary, and also futuristic.
Yes.
And things still seen. So we know that the function of the O.A.U., as Haile Selassie argue, he must say, I can tell me actually, look at nothing because I have the speech in front of me, He must say, what you require is a single African organization through which Africa's single voice may be heard, within which Africans' problems may be studied and resolved. We need an organization which facilitates acceptable solutions to disputes amongst Africans and promote the study and adoption of measures for common defense and programs for cooperation in the economic and social fields. Remember right now, the whole idea of development between social, economic, environmental, and cultural, and these were captured in these 4 spheres in fire. And it's in 1963, we are talking about 80 years ago, Which shows how far the ancients were of these people. Let us at this conference create a single institution to which we will all belong, based on the principle of which we all subscribe, confident that in its council our voice will carry their proper weight, securing the knowledge and decisions where will be dedicated by Africans and owned by Africans, dictated by Africans and owned by Africans, that they will take full account of all vital African consideration. See? So even in that speech for you, I say there's need to establish Africans' own bank.
Yes.
See, we deal with the development of the African nation because we have a political union, And we have some social program where I say we need the economic agenda is extremely crucial. And remember, say you talk about coming out of World War II. See, coming out of World War II, you know, when the man said Bretton Woods, you know, that the World Bank and IMF coming in 1944, they said to control, ever build back Europe, which was called International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. And when they finish doing that, they must say they can recolonize other developing nations in the Caribbean and Africa as well. And I last time I said, what you know, Virgin? Establish your own African bank, establish your own platform that supports the development of Africa as independent nation states, chanting our own future. They must also still clear say we know the history of colonization, but we don't want to carry the baggage of hate with I because you know say hate is a poison. It can destroy you. But I say, yeah, we have a farmer base which you can partner them people, but we'll still not forget their atrocities are going on because history is important as is stated in the speech as well. See, but more importantly, it's how I can shape African people, destiny, and development. As a matter of fact, in the speech, Haile Selassie also mentioned the struggles of many Africans who have been in the continent and those who never step foot on the continent. And if we don't do the work we're supposed to do, it's like a betrayal to those Africans. Same matter with the members of the diaspora, we know still push towards struggle for African liberation.
Definitely. And remember that by 1963, he had already granted Shashamane in 1948.
All right.
So this is not a hurry come up.
No.
You know, a lot of the Pan-Africanists like to frame His Majesty like he was jumping on a bandwagon when it come on to Pan-African. They don't know that he had funded the UNIA from in the 1920s as Rastafari. But continue.
No, but you should know. But you give information which is crucial, but you're right. That's why we talk to a man like Bongo Jerry. I tell you, when Marcus Garvey have him 21-day celebration in the US, it was being funded by Haile Selassie, Rastafari as a young youth at that time.
Yeah, man.
See? So there's no doubt. But remember, I know for you, Pan-Africanism started with Haile Selassie, man. I say that unapologetically. Because remember, say Haile Selassie governed Ethiopia as the only independent nation state in the whole continent. And all of the movement towards liberating other African people is being promoted and fueled by Haile Selassie as well. As a matter of fact, I also know that Haile Selassie granted more than 400 different scholarships to leaders of African countries. Because they want to build them place, because Africa was the place that have the university that was established and things still seen. So any guy out the road who say imagine Pan-Africanism and want to try if in a sense minimize, discredit the work of Haile Selassie, it shows you how colonial minded them be, and we know say enslaved mind can't serve free people. See? Because I cited the Virgin. You say, hey, they have a style for trying to juxtapose Haile Selassie and Marcus Garvey and look for differences. And I'm saying to you have Haile Selassie in the continent, unifying the continent. You have Marcus Garvey in the diaspora, unifying the diaspora. Why we don't talk about the efforts at unification rather than talk about the differences that a man have, regardless of what was said by Haile Selassie by Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
See? So I'm not get distracted by that, because I'm saying when I bring together the diaspora, when I bring together the continent, and so each of the group them can come together even more stronger. See? So I never get distracted by those guys who try to say negative, because this over here, even though I know the Rastaman vibration is always positive, we know that in Earth, in a relative reality, see, and there's always going to be the existence of the complementary opposite. So if you have 99.999% positive, you still have some kind of negative. That might be the balance, because balance don't mean 50-50, you know. No. Balance just means a state of equilibrium, which means it is a state where it finds the greatest good to the greatest number, where people are comfortable in them liberty and things still. See? So I know say at the heart of Pan-African unification is the works of Haile Selassie. As a matter of fact, the speech that Haile Selassie made in 1963 after the meeting on the 25th of May in Addis Ababa was them saying was speaking to the conscience of the world on behalf of the world. And this was a statement that them as African leaders want the world to hear. I start by saying until philosophy which holds one race superior. Because that came out. It was like a mandate Haile Selassie got, you know.
Yeah,
from the other entities. That's what you know. Make them know that this is I deal with. So until we have equal rights and justice, equity, disarmament, you're going to have destruction across the globe. And the failure to adapt these principles is a failure of the UN. And I also recognize that out of that, 2 years after that, UN have the declaration about racism. And if you look at the whole thing of the racism declaration, it comes directly from the words so that Haile Selassie made in 1963. Okay. So Haile Selassie was talking about the O.A.U, you know. I says about the union of all people on the globe, on the face of the earth. But
Well,
he
this
said,
this is that almighty kind of Irish now when we talk
Right.
about it's bigger than race.
no, but that man said, but if you read the speech in 63, it said as well, where him say, the problems and challenges that face us today are unprecedented. Because we are facing things in the educational experience that prepared us to address. And still, we must become a new member of a new race. Not align ourselves to countries and anything, but to the entire human community. That's really the last chapter in that, the last verse.
Yes.
The paragraph in that speech in 1963.
Mighty.
Yeah, someone says a new race of people. And that's not to do with skin type. That's to do with the mindset. And there's a global, and there's a Rastafariism. Rastafari is that global citizen. We gone past time and space and race and everything there. But that means I ain't a race aware.
No.
We forgive, but we never forget. We never forget.
Iron Vice. The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people great and small, rich and poor, free and slave to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell, that's new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game, that's new matrix. It's a new world order. Them start bleaching, diverse doctrine. Them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell, that's new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game, that's new matrix. It's a new world order. Them pan cell phone. Families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare, use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan lost for the throne, so we must exit us and leave him alone. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell, that's new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game, that's new matrix. It's a new world order. Check the energy, make it so hard to go have a family.